Hello everyone and welcome to the sixth round here at KCG season 25-3. As you can see, we have the wonderful Super Tourers going around Macau today for a race around the Guya circuit. Dry forecasted weather. It's looking to be a nice day out, but that doesn't mean the walls are any further away from the racetrack than they would usually be. My name is Julian Strasser and I will be your commentator today going through this race. First of all, we just started the qualifying session. Before that, we're gonna have to go through something else real quick, which is the standings for before the race today. So for that, let's take a look here really quick. Here we go. Here we've got the standings. We have Sven Mackenberg leading ahead of Ricardo Rebello. Quite handsome margin right now of about, what's that? That is 26 points ahead. So, while it is quite a handsome margin, it doesn't mean that there cannot be any fight back from Ricardo Rebello. Obviously, it does not mean that. Ricardo Rebello is still within distance, just needs a few races finishing ahead of Sven Mackenberg, and then there will be little to no gap left. Marvin Mackenberg is a bit further off the punch now, being 43 points behind Ricardo Rebello, but is being very closely challenged by Kordian Kriminski now. Sebastiano Rossi still in 5th, being closely challenged by Jiří Kratochvil, who has done a great job on improving over especially the first few races this season. Joe Senna and Sam Morris are the next, being closely followed by Colin Barker. Marian Cesaro, Dirk Moltz and Charlie Monk are rounding up the top 12 of the drivers. And the rest of the drivers we will not go into detail for right now. Let's take a look instead at what the qualifying session provides. We do have right now Marvin Mackenberg, who has switched to the Opel and is looking to put down the first of the valid laps here. One more corner left to go until we come to the start finish. I think one more corner. I think that's where it is, right? Absolutely. That's a 2:27.789. That's the pace put down by Marvin Mackenberg. Let's see what Sven Mackenberg can do. He is behind the just by 2.5 tenths. And Ricardo Rebello and Song Yong are quite a bit behind that, it seems, right now. Colin Barker, let's take a look. Oh, the middle sector is not really on the pace, but the middle sector is exactly where you need to make up all of that time, because it is the mountain section, which is pretty much a single file going through there, and it is where you can lose or gain all of the time. We now see Song Yong with the Volvo S40. Let's take a look what they can do. 4 tenths down only in the first sector. But as we saw earlier, the middle sector is where it's at. That's a bit of a wide line there through the corner. Getting so close to the wall on the exit, as you can see. It's always a challenge here, trying to maximize the speed on exit without sideswiping the wall, basically. That is going to be the challenge that most of these drivers will be facing today. As you can see, middle sector, we're still in the middle sector here, over 120 length already. It's a very long middle sector, so that's basically where all of the pace lies. And we're coming up to now... Oh, it's so close on the exit there to the bollards. We are coming up to the most infamous part of the circuit, actually, being the hairpin. Just after this, we're going down the hill and coming into this hairpin, which is a permanent yellow zone, which means that there is no overtaking allowed here, and if there will be any overtaking done, then the game itself will already punish that. But Song does not seem to be on a very good lap right now. Let's switch over to Ricardo Rebello. Maybe he's got some improvements here. Middle sector, 1.7 down at the end of it. So maybe there's going to be an improvement here. Yes, there is. Within 2 seconds off the lead right now. But it seems that Sven Mackenberg has taken the lead now with a 2:27.650. And who's this? Song Yong coming across the line here. Not improving on their best time. But Sven Mackenberg has now beaten his brother Marvin Mackenberg to be on the provisional podium position right now. Jiří Kratochvíl does not have a valid lap in yet, but that is going to change here, maybe, as we switch over to Marvin Mackenberg. No, it seemed to be an invalid lap. Oh, look at that first sector by Marvin Mackenberg, 4/10 down. But weirdly, the second sector didn't seem to trigger. Was it because it wasn't valid, or what happened here for Marvin Mackenberg? No, it wasn't. It just didn't trigger. That's Marvin Mackenberg up into P1 now with a 2:27.221. Sven Mackenberg, though, is immediately on the charge again to beat his brother out, being just shy of a 10th quicker in the first sector. Let's take a look. The middle sector, though, is where it's at. It is where you can gain or lose all of the time, basically. And I think Sven could have taken that a bit wider on the exit there. He kept a bit more pace through the corner here as well, not really using the entire track width to his advantage, it seems to me. But that might as well... Oh, that was not the best. Yeah, did reset the pits here, it seems. Was not on the pace for this time. Timo Reitzer now. I think this is an out lap, more like a warm-up lap to prepare for a better lap coming up. Let's take a look here. Is again that the middle sector did not trigger here. A bit wide on the exit here. Early on the apex. Let's take a look. It was an improvement ahead of Song Yong. It was not, however, an improvement close enough to Colin Barker or to challenge him for any position. Let's take a look what Colin Barker can do here. There's only one more corner left for this Opel driver here. We've got a bunch of Opel drivers around today now. With Marvin Mackenberg switching over. Colin Barker, let's take a look, improves into P5, right ahead of Marian Setsara. Nice job by Colin Barker here. We're switching over to Marvin Mackenberg, who has a purple middle sector, 5/10 up. Oh, look at this. It seems that Marvin has found his car now, and this is going to be, well, dangerous for the rest of the grid, basically, if that means he can now drive away, as we've seen Sven in the past. Jiří Kratochvíl getting his first lap into P7 for now, but let's take a look at Marvin Mackenberg. What can he do? That is an improvement. He's now over a second ahead of his brother Sven. Song Yong, in the meanwhile, is trying to improve. That first sector's looking pretty nice so far, but as we have seen so many times before, the middle sector is where it's at. And interestingly, we have not seen a valid lap by Kordian Kryminski yet. Oh no, we have, into P3. Well, there we go. According to Kruminski into P3 ahead of Riccardo Rebello, but they do seem quite off the pace to the Muckenbergs. Song Yong in the meantime, as we see going through the mountain section, will he be able to finish this lap even with 33 seconds left on the clock? Of course, in RaceRoom, this is how it works. Once the clock has ticked to 0, you cannot continue anymore. I don't think this will be enough time to finish the lap here, and the game doesn't think so either. So it will be Marvin Muckenberg in P1 for the race ahead of Sven Muckenberg. Riccardo Rebello in P3 followed by Corin Kreminski. Sebastiano Rossi in P5 followed by Colin Barker. Marian Setsara in P7 followed by Jiří Gratoshvili. Sam Morris right next to Timo Reiter will be row 5, and Song Yong will be next to Andreas Ebert on the 6th and final row of the starting grid. Yeah, what a lap indeed it was by Marvin Muckenberg to put him over a second ahead of his brother Sven Muckenberg. Even Marvin Muckenberg seems surprised here in the chat right now. Now we've got a 2-minute warm-up session right ahead of the race. It is a bit more sunny now. Maybe that's a telling sign for the race. A few drivers will go out and check the conditions on the circuit. We see here Corin Kreminski getting one valid lap in, basically, which put him into P4. We'll have to see. Maybe there's some pace to be found during the race. Maybe the two Muckenberg brothers will fight each other and allow other drivers to catch up. Especially if they were to go side by side in the middle sector. That is where it could be dangerous. That is where they could lose enormous amounts of time to the rest of the grid. Sven Muckenberg, Riccardo Rebello here will have to gain a bit of time on the Muckenberg brothers if he wants to challenge for the championship. Sven Muckenberg exiting the pits now. Usually the warm-up is a good place to try out the start, to practice starting, because that is going to be something very important. Look at how long these straights are. Basically, you're going to drive along all of these straights here in the beginning. So if you get the best launch out of everyone, well, that's when Lady Fortuna will be by your side. We'll have to see who gets the better launch. We do have multiple rows of drivers, multiple opportunities for different drivers to gain some positions right off the bat. And if a driver who does not have the best of pace, or did not have the best of pace in qualifying in the middle sector, if they manage to get ahead of a faster driver, that might create the cork in the bottle effect. That would be interesting, especially if it happened like from the second row ahead of the first row. After all, you have these 3 long straights. And after that, a very tight right-hander. And after that, a quite long session, which is pretty much single file. As we're on board with Imantric Saints right now, who is starting in final position. Let's take a look. Who is starting better? Riccardo Rebello has a monstrous start. And that is why I said it's important to practice your starts. Riccardo Rebello immediately up into P1. Up ahead of Sven Muckenberg, who is in the slipstream. And Marvin Muckenberg only getting in behind that. Corin Kreminski is back in P4 where he started. But Riccardo Rebello having the lead now. And now it's getting onto the longest corners of the straights, after which the right-hander, the tight right-hander happens, and look at this gaggle of cars. They will battle for every centimeter on the circuit, and look at the inside. Who is that? Ricardo Rebello right next to Sven Mackenberg, and Ricardo Rebello is ahead. Oh, and Sam Morris is spinning around here, losing quite a lot of position, and they were side by side here, forcing each other into the wall in the back. What happened there? Back to the front as we see Sven Mackenberg is on the rear of Ricardo Rebello. Ricardo Rebello is still in the lead, and it seems like the two are gaining on Marvin Mackenberg. They're losing Marvin Mackenberg, who's followed by Cody Kreminski and Sebastiano Rossi, and that is not Jiří Kratochvil. No, that is not Jiří Kratochvil behind that, is it? No. Jiří Kratochvil is losing quite a bit to the cars up ahead so far, and it seems that this gaggle of three cars is also widening up as Marvin Mackenberg is gaining his pace, regaining the pace in the middle sector here ahead of the Alphas. In the lead though, Ricardo Rebello is seemingly getting a bit of distance to Sven Mackenberg, who is the leader of the championship. Was it perhaps just a slower qualifying lap because Ricardo Rebello didn't want to know what others to know what his true pace is? Who knows? All that we know right now is that Ricardo Rebello is in the lead in the middle of this first lap for this 20-minute race. What a start here, and it seems that we are now in the permanent yellow section. No overtaking allowed here. And yes, everyone's holding to that, but there is a bit of a kerfuffle in the back. It seems that Sebastiano Rossi had to slow quite down in order to not run into the back of Cody and Kreminski. Sven Mackenberg, in the meantime, is still in P2, is still hoping to get back this position. Maybe that will be possible here on the straights. We know that the Volvo 850 is not bad in a straight line, absolutely not, especially when it has the slipstream. We have seen that on understop, for example, but how does it look now? Will there be enough slipstream advantage for Sven Mackenberg? It does not seem like it right now. Ricardo Rebello is just running away at the front. A bit further back, we have Timo Reiter, who is catching up to Jiří Kratochvil. Let's take a look. Will Kratochvil do the defense once again? Oh, no chance here. Timo Reiter making it side by side without any issues and going for the overtake through this fast right-hander. No problem though for Jiří Kratochvil, who stays up ahead, side by side as well between Ricardo Rebello and Sven Mackenberg. Mackenberg has to cut back though, and has to be content with P2 once again. But there is a pack of four here racing very closely. Colin Barker is at the front of that, followed by Jiří Kratochvil, and look who's behind that as well. Timo Reiter and Marian Satsara. This is a wondrous battle here in the midfield, and it seems that once again Jiří Kratochvil is towards the front of it. Will he be able to catch up to Colin Barker to stay in the slipstream of the British driver in order to defend this position, maybe even build upon this position? We will have to see. Jiří Kratochvil is pretty much one of the best defenders we have ever seen in this championship so far. We'll have to see whether he can also attack. Oh, but that was a bit of the wall there, and Timo Reiter almost smelling the opportunity, not quite able to make it side by side with Jiří Kratochvil, but they are losing to Colin Barker right now. Look at where Barker is going. He's just off and away of this three-way battle here. Jiří Kratochvil, due to this one single mistake, lost the rear of the British Opel. Timo Reiter smelling an opportunity, but not close enough to go for any move. And absolutely, here you shouldn't. You are not allowed to. You will get a penalty, because in this permanent yellow flag zone, you will be punished for overtaking under the yellow flag, as racing rules predict and dictate. But for now, it seems that Colin Barker is in a pretty safe P6, and Timo Reiter hits the wall there. Bit too much pace on exit, which means that Marian Satsara is now able to potentially go for the overtake. Let's take a look. Oh no, that was not the best line into the corner there, Marian. Marian will have to another chance though here at the end of the straight. are not quite side by side enough to go for a move, but there's still 2 more straights where you could go for something further in the front, though. It seems that Sven Mackenberg is once again trying to go for a move here around the outside of Riccardo Rebello, not able to do anything as Riccardo Rebello defends on the inside, and as both of them are losing Marvin Mackenberg. But look at that exit here, much better for Sven Mackenberg as they're making it side by side now. What is this? This is Sven Mackenberg side by side in the middle sector with Riccardo Rebello. Who has the better line here for this left-hander? It seems to be Riccardo Rebello, but they're still side by side. And Sven Mackenberg not able to take any advantage of this right-hander that came his way, but look who is right behind him once again. Now Marvin Mackenberg right in the slipstream of Sven Mackenberg, his brother, and they are fighting once again. It's a 5-way battle for the lead once again, just because these 2 cars went side by side in the middle sector. As I said in the beginning, this is what happens when you go side by side in a such narrow section of the circuit. You are going to invite the cars behind to catch up. And that is exactly what they did here. Marvin Mackenberg is right on the rear of his brother Sven Mackenberg, and he will be thinking, mate, if you cannot overtake here, then let me just do it. They will have to wait for the straights to come once again, though, for any overtakes to be made, because now we're here on the permanent yellow flag. Hairpin once again. There's a bit of a kerfuffle. The wall has been hit by Sebastiano Rossi here in the back. That means he will probably lose some time, and also lost some time has Marvin Mackenberg. He's now over a second behind his brother Sven Mackenberg. What an unfortunate series of events here. It's always hard to get a good exit out of that corner, but it seems that Riccardo Rebello is able to defend his P1 for now. Sven Mackenberg is getting close, though, once again, as he is in the slipstream and along these straights. That is definitely the way to go. Try to get out of the slipstream, and I think this is the first time that Sven Mackenberg has managed to make it work onto the inside of this next right-hander, as Riccardo Rebello has now hit the wall. He's now only in P2, and the inside of the corner lies with Sven Mackenberg. This is the chance that Mackenberg has waited for. Look at what Riccardo Rebello is trying, the desperate moves here by the Portuguese driver to try and defend his first position, but in the end it ended up with him being only in 4th. What a shot and a miss here. It's like taking the penalty and shooting an own goal, basically. How would you even do that? I don't know. Riccardo Rebello has done it anyways. Away from the podium, even behind Cody Kreminski now. And this means that Sven Mackenberg is now free to reign in the front for now. But we did see that Marvin Mackenberg did have the pace in qualifying to challenge his brother. And that might be a thing happening here as well. Once again, look at Sven Mackenberg is losing advantage, it seems, to the Opel of Marvin Mackenberg. They're close to one another and they are hitting the walls. That is not a very healthy sight to see. Let's take a look now whether Marvin Mackenberg can get a proper exit out of this corner here. It seems that the better exit is still with Sven Mackenberg. Yeah, it seems just that Sven Mackenberg has just a better exit out of the Melco hairpin here. And this now means that there's no more slipstream for Marvin Mackenberg. Marvin is seemingly out of the slipstream range now, unable to catch up to his brother. Not through slipstream anyways. It will have to happen through driver skill, through the middle sector. We will have to see that we will get to see that a few more times this race. It's a very long lap hit, about 2.5 minutes in these cars. So a 20-minute session is over in just a few laps. Let's take a look. Marvin Muckenberg has caught up a little bit here, it seems. Oh, he grazes the wall, though, here on exit, which is not good. Not a good start into the middle sector here, and that is not what he would like to see. However, there is so much time to be made up here, as we see a DNF from Imentrix Sainz, unfortunately. Marvin Muckenberg will have to do a bit of a better line through the middle sector in order to catch up. Riccardo Rebello is currently doing that, is getting close to Gordon Kreminski, trying to get back his P3 position, as both of them seem to be losing time to the Muckenberg brothers up ahead. But it seems that this is not enough right now. Riccardo Rebello, just not getting close enough, and will have to get a proper exit out of the Malco hairpin. Don't grace the wall, that hurts your exit speed enormously. You don't want that to happen at all. Going further up ahead, back to Marvin Muckenberg, the lead battle right now. It seems that Marvin is a bit more happy with the Opel than he was previously with... Help me. Drove another car. Not the Opel. Oh, is he almost rear-ends Sven Muckenberg here? He almost rear-ends his brother. And now he's lost all of the time once again. Well, some of the time that he's made up in the middle sector. Losing it when going onto the straights. Well, that was a good exit there by Marvin Muckenberg, and maybe he can get within the slipstream range here once again as we come now to the R-bend. Let's start actually calling out the corner names now properly. Let's do this properly. As we go into T1, which is the reservoir bend. Oh, look at these cars, how fast they're going through here. Beautiful scenes watching these go past as we go through the Mandarin bend. And I have learned that Macau used to be a Portuguese colony, which explains the name of the next corner, which is Lisboa. I think that is the name that Lisbon has in Portuguese. As we're coming up to San Francisco Hill, and I can definitely see where it has its name from. As we come into T8 now and T9, maternity bend. As Marvin Muckenberg, look at how close he's getting now to his brother. T10 here now. T11, which is Teddy Ip. Teddy Ip? Okay. As we go through the Solitude S's now, which is where it gets very narrow, the road, which is where you probably want to be only in a single file the entire time. Through the Baramy Hills now. Coming to Moorish Hill. Right here. Marvin Muckenberg is getting closer. Closer and closer and closer. This might be a chance once again as we go through the... what's that name? The Donna Maria bend. Beautiful, but now we're coming into the Malco hairpin, and the exit out of it is what counts. Once again, tapping the rear there, Marvin, off his brother Sven, as we come through Black Sands and into the Fisherman's Bend, which is the next corner coming up, the 90-degree right-hander. Let's take a look whether Marvin Muckenberg can take that better than his brother once again this time. Oh, it does seem like it. Exit a bit... actually pretty similar, but the slipstream is helping Marvin Muckenberg catch up a bit. Let's see what they do through the R-band as they complete this lap once more. And it seems that Sven Muckenberg has gotten the better line through there. Further behind, we still have a battle going on between Timo Reiter and Jiří Kratochvíl as well. Kratochvíl so far has not been able to defend from Colin Barker, who went away earlier. But it seems that Marian Satsara is now quite a ways behind this battle. Hiroshi Kratoshvili able to defend so far from Timo Reiter to stay in front and to keep his moniker of being the King of Defense, the Minister of Defense, one might say, in this race. The Czech Minister of Defense, Hiroshi Kratoshvili, ahead of Timo Reiter, who is catching up. But will it be enough for an overtake here? He's getting close, he's getting ever closer, but no, he's lifting off, he's staying in the slipstream. No, he's braking too late now. That is Timo Reiter in the wall. We saw that firsthand. Oh, unfortunately, there's also some of that front damage right now. The light on the left side is even out. And that means that Timo Reiter, yeah, he's going to have a tough challenge trying to catch back up to Hiroshi Kratoshvili. Further behind we have Song Yong, who is also catching up to a very damaged Marian Satsara. What is going on there? That is missing an entire front bumper. It seems that Marian Satsara also hit the wall somewhere. So Song Yong has the opportunity to catch up right here and to make that P10 overtake, which would be one position better from the start for Song Yong. But he lost a bit of time here through the middle sector. It's just about the lines, and you need to know the correct lines for here. And it seems that Marian Satsara has a bit better line through this middle sector. Andreas Ebert having a bit of a bad luck in the start, being caught between a rock and the hard place. He's having a pretty quiet race in P12 right now. A similarly quiet race, well, not quite. You can see Riccardo Rebello up ahead. But Sebastiano Rossi as well in P5. Quite a quiet race, as there's a yellow flag for Sam Morris, which is just going through the Melco hairpin, it seems. Back to the front though, we will have one more lap. This will be the final lap, and Marvin Muckenberg will try to go for a move here, potentially. Let's take a look. They have to be going up the mountain now after this Lisboa corner. Let's take a look. Beautifully taken, no hitting the wall here by any of these drivers, which is what we want to see, which is the best line to take, not into the wall. Marvin Muckenberg, though, is behind his brother, trying to catch up. He did out-qualify him by over a second. So now only being behind him, that's gotta sting a bit. And Marvin Muckenberg will look for a way past his brother. At this point, even if he manages to overtake, if he manages to make it side by side in this middle corner here, of course, before the mandatory yellow flag. Permanent yellow flag, that's the word I was looking for. Then, there might be a chance even for Kreminski to catch up. But who knows? Marvin Muckenberg and Force have to catch up sufficiently to go for a move. But we're getting very close to the permanent yellow flag zone already, going through Moorish Hill. This is Moorish Hill, right? I think so, yeah. As we come into the Donna Maria bend here, and this is now where the permanent yellow flag starts. Marvin Muckenberg will have to get the best exit out of this corner. Let's take a look. Sven Muckenberg, oh, so close once again between the two, front bumper to bumper. They are going in through these Melco hairpin, and it seems that Sven Muckenberg has done it. This seems so far like, well, not quite the repeat of what we have seen in the past, but still a very good performance by Sven Muckenberg, who managed to overtake Riccardo Rebello. And that was a crucial overtake, and Marvin Muckenberg trying everything he can to go for the P1 space. But it looks that Sven Muckenberg has won the race ahead of Marvin Muckenberg. Courtney Kreminski going in through in third. And Riccardo Rebello, after leading the race from a great start in the beginning of the race, only coming across the line in fourth position. Sebastian Rossi in fifth. Colin Barker crossing the line in P6, a pretty lonely P6, as does Jiří Kratochvíl after the incident that we saw earlier from Timo Reiter, who is right behind that, coming in P8. Marian Satsara in the very damaged Honda is coming to the finish. Oh, and it seems that there's even a bit of a battle here between, well, a battle. It seems that Song Young is letting Sam Morris pass once again. Marian Satsara finishing in P9. Sam Morris finishing in P10. Song Young in his first race in P11. And Andreas Ebert is a bit behind. Still going though. Still going strong. Will finish in P12. The Mackenbergs, they're really showing their dominance today, more so than ever before. It seems that this middle sector here is the most driver's sector that we've seen so far this season. It will be interesting to see whether they can repeat that in the second race. Look at the best laps as well. They're both in the 28.2s with the best laps, Sven and Marvin. And then the next best person is Colin Kreminski with a 28.8. And Riccardo Rebello only had a 29.3. However, as we saw earlier, if he manages to stay in front, then that will be an amazing chance for him. Stay up ahead and defend. Defend like Kratochvíl. Get a good start and defend like Kratochvíl. That's going to be the strategy here for race 2 for Riccardo Rebello. We will get to that in just 1.5 minutes. In the meantime, I will take a quick break and we will be back in time. There are 30 seconds left in the 13 seconds left in the warm-up session. There we go. And after that, the race 2 will start. We just had an electrifying race 1, especially the first half of it. After a great start from Riccardo Rebello from the second row of the grid, he managed to get up into P1 off the line. We'll have to see whether anyone can repeat a feat like that the second race. Maybe Riccardo Rebello can even repeat it himself. We'll have to see that. But we'll start in now less than a minute. And I will quickly take the time to say, if you want to race with us as well, either in this championship or in our upcoming iRacing championships or ongoing ACC or upcoming ACC championships and our LMU stuff, then feel free to scan that QR code on the site or visit tracc.eu/Discord in order to come to our Discord server where we can give you all of the information that you need to race with us. But for now, we are racing once again. This is race 2 now. And we are going. It looks like the start this time was not as good maybe for Riccardo Rebello, but he's still able to get ahead of Marvin Muckenberg with ease. But is he also getting ahead of Sven Muckenberg here? They are side by side now already, but at this point last race he was ahead in P1. It seems that Sven Muckenberg has had a better start this time, or Riccardo Rebello just not the monster start he had last time. And that was a collision. They're both in the wall, Riccardo Rebello and Marvin Muckenberg now down the line. Sebastiano Rossi and Colin Kreminski picking up the scraps in P2. Oh my lord, that was a bit of a side-swiping adventure there between the two. And it seems that the two Alpha boys have gotten the best of it. And the worst of it maybe has gotten Riccardo Rebello, who is now down in P6, even behind Jiří Kratochvíl. Marvin Muckenberg will have to try and overtake Colin Kreminski in order to try and get back up to his brother. I don't know how easy or hard that will be, but all I know is that Sebastiano Rossi and Colin Kreminski in the previous sessions did not have the pace of Sven Muckenberg, so it might be Sven Muckenberg who has the chance here to just get away from the rest of the grid. We will see whether that is the case. It seems that there's a bit of a distance being gained right now, and look at that, Marvin Muckenberg just hitting the wall there twice, once on the inside, once on the outside. Not the best situation to be in. Unfortunate start for Marvin Muckenberg. Colin Kreminski, though, is getting close to Sebastiano Rossi. This is the battle for P2 right now on the circuit. Coming onto the straight now, or the series of straights, and it seems that Marvin Muckenberg is just a bit too far away. Sven Muckenberg is able to straighten out his legs to get a bit of a distance, but Riccardo Rebello now trying to go for the overtake at least on Jiří Kratochvíl. I don't know how much damage he will have at this moment in time. Will he be able to even overtake with the potential aero damage that we've seen being accrued earlier? But even then, how important is the aero even in these cars, in these touring cars, these super tourers? We'll have to see what Riccardo Rebello can do as well. Colin Kreminski getting pretty close. But, oh, that was Marian Satsara in the wall in the back there. As we see Riccardo Rebello getting close, getting close. Will it be close enough? It will not be close enough for a move on Jiří Kratochvíl. Yeah, that front looks sad. That Renault Laguna front looks pretty sad, unfortunately. Colin Kreminski, in the meanwhile, is trying to go for a move on Sebastiano Rossi. Oh, wide line taking the missing of the apex there by Sebastiano Rossi. Will it be enough at any point in time to make a move for the Polish driver? Well, he won't know unless he tries. However, Marvin Muckenberg is closing in from behind, making this P2 battle into a three-way battle. Let's take a look at that. What can Marvin Muckenberg do? Will he be able to go for an overtake? Well, probably, preferably not in these few corners, because we have the permanent yellow flag zone coming up. Let's take a look. Marvin Muckenberg is trying to get the better line here, trying to get the better exit, but you cannot go for an overtake right here. We're coming up to the Melko hairpin. Permanent yellow flag zone, as explained earlier. It will be a penalty. Going for an overtake through here. No one does. Everyone is being nice. Marvin Muckenberg did lose Did lose the rear a bit. Oh! Of Gordon Kreminski once again. It just seems that Marvin Muckenberg does not have the best traction out of the Melco hairpin. Is that maybe because of the Opel, or is it because he would have to find a bit of a better line? Maybe he's in the wrong gear? No, probably not. First gear, right? It's a first gear corner, right? Gotta be. Well, look at how close it is. You even have to minimize the steering angle, basically, in order to make it around the corner. You will have to take it in for it, right? Riccardo Rebello getting close once again. Gordon Kreminski in front getting close as well. Let's take a look whether Gordon Kreminski can go for a move. Sebastiano Rossi going for the inside. What a defensive line. Gordon Kreminski. Oh, they come together. They touch a bit. But it seems that Sebastiano Rossi has the inside. Will leave enough space. Gordon Kreminski has the momentum around the outside and will be able to keep it. Yeah, that is Gordon Kreminski now in P2. Riccardo Rebello also able to move past Yuji Krotoshwil, and it seems that something happened to Krotoshwil because Satsara as well was able to move past. Even Satsara now up into P6 from the starting position of P8, I believe. Marvin Muckenberg, in the meantime, is getting close to Sebastiano Rossi now, who did defend second place for a while there, but will have to defend third place now from Marvin Muckenberg. Not able to go onto the offense right immediately, especially considering that Gordon Kreminski did have a better single lap pace in the first race. And he's already stretching his legs. Look at that. Look at how far ahead he already is. Sebastiano Rossi now having to defend from Marvin Muckenberg. And that is not a sexy sight to behold, as Marvin Muckenberg is, of course, the P1 qualifier for today, and he's trying to go for an overtake here. That is through the Donna Maria bend right before the Melco hairpin here, which we're going through right now. Sebastiano Rossi will have a better exit, though, it seems, through the Melco hairpin, which means he is keeping P3 for now. It seems that Irontrix Sainz had a bit of an issue just now, being overtaken now by Andreas Ebert for P12. Oh yeah, that front of the Opel is looking a bit tattered. Oh, that was probably a nightmare for the microphone to pick up me saying tattered in the way that I did. In any case, Marvin Muckenberg is within the slipstream range of Sebastiano Rossi, so there will be a battle coming up. If not here, then after the Mandarin Bend. Let's take a look. They don't hit the wall. That's good. Sebastiano Rossi goes for the defensive line to the right for the next Lischberg corner. Marvin Muckenberg is on the outside. He's on the outside. Will he go for around the outside and move? Will he make it stick? It seems like he does. He has the better line now. Yes, he does. He has made the move stick, as has Gordon Kreminski the lap before. Marvin Muckenberg saw a thing that worked, and he repeated it. That is learning on the job, everybody. You see something once, you repeat it perfectly the next time around, and then you hit the wall a bit, for good measure. Colin Barker is in P8 on the rear of Jiří Kratochvíl. Now that is a battle for the ages. We know that Colin Barker is not a driver that is scared of any confrontation, but Jiří Kratochvíl is a great defender. We'll have to see who of the two will prevail. Seems that Jiří Kratochvíl right now has the advantage ahead of the Brit. Colin Barker, one of the RaceRoom OGs. Very experienced, very long-time driver. Both with RaceRoom and with Tractor.eu, having been around for the first few championships that we have ever hosted here in 2021. Jiří Kratochvíl right now seemingly doing the defense, as we have seen it in Understop. No way past right now for Colin Barker. has the wider line, though. Will he be able to go for a better exit? Though there's Timo Reiter now on the back. Has caught up to the two, turning this battle for P7 into a three-way. Timo Reiter in the Audi is the only all-wheel drive car here. The BMW, of course, is a rear-wheel drive, and I think the Opel is a front-wheel drive. I think we have all three drive configurations here in one shot. That is Timo Reiter hitting the wall there quite aggressively. Oh, that must have hurt. IRL, there will probably be a slight concussion now. Good thing we're sim racing. But Colin Barker is still trying to make a move past. Unable to do so for the moment. And there's Kratoshvil crashing. And there's a T-bone. Colin Barker has collected Yuji Kratoshvil. Timo Reiter in this entire thing has driven past the two. Kratoshvil now retired to the pits. And Colin Barker must have retained some damage from that. Absolutely T-boning Yuji Kratoshvil here, who crashed after being caught in hitting the wall. That was so unfortunate for Yuji Kratoshvil there, and it unsettled the car enormously. Colin Barker had no way to react there other than to try and slam on the brakes, because Timo Reiter was also approaching from the right. That was a tough one to call there. Tough decision to make for Colin Barker. And you have to make a split-second decision. Unfortunately, it ended in a T-bone. Oh boy. Now he will have to fight against Timo Reiter. Trying to get back the position for P7 here. Well, technically, Colin Barker was always in P8. Now it's just a different driver in P7. Oh, that must have really hurt for Yuji Kratoshvil. That will hurt for his championship aspirations as well. Crucial points lost here. As we see Song Yong, who is quite close to this battle, got the line here a bit wrong into the Malco hairpin. Losing a bit of time now to Sam Morris up ahead. Learning the track with every lap. Unfortunately, we've only got 7 minutes left in this second race, so not much more possibility to try and learn, or to actually make something out of the learned, as Colin Barker and Timo Reiter side by side through the R bend. Let's take a look. Colin Barker not taking the slipstream for now. Took a bit of slipstream through the reservoir bend. Let's take a look. Is side by side now with Timo Reiter, but they're coming up to the Mandarin bend, which is right-hander. So that should be better for Timo Reiter, and it will be. Timo Reiter now going defensive. Colin Barker not having an inch for that. Tries to show himself in the rear view mirror of Timo Reiter. Does not work at this point. Timo Reiter unaffected by that swerve. Now Colin Barker is staying close on the rear of Reiter. We'll have to see whether he can make any moves anytime soon. Further in the front, we have Marvin Muckenberg getting close to Gordon Kreminski. Battle for P2 is back on the cards, but they have lost 5 seconds already to Sven Muckenberg. So, unless anything major happens to Sven, it seems that this will be a pretty calm and collected P1 for the championship leader. Marvin Muckenberg, though, wants to stay ahead of Kreminski in the championship standings as well, and will try to stay ahead of him in this race as well. See, Ironmetric Sane seems to have hit the wall a bit. yellow flag here into... That was Lisboa. The first real corner. Not that the Reservoir Bend and Mandarin Bend are not real corners, but they are bends. And Lisboa is a 90-degree right-hander, where we have seen many a scary incidents, IRL especially. Marvin Muckenberg though now. It's getting close to Colin Kreminski, not taking the slipstream here, interestingly. Maybe we'll try to get closer here, coming into Lisboa, going for a move. Here is definitely the more promising of the variants. Will he make it side by side? Oh, yes, just slightly. But Colin Kreminski with the outside line and the better momentum through the corner, keeping higher speed. Because of the higher radius, larger radius being taken, we'll be able to defend that corner. Colin Barker is also really close to Timo Reiter right now. Now let's take a look at that. Will he be able to make a move? Timo Reiter staying on the outside, not defending here, and he doesn't need to. Colin Barker stays behind, but has the better exit out of the corner and is now up ahead, up the San Francisco Hill there side by side, and it seems that just ahead is Colin Barker, who is trying to make this stick. They are still side by side there. Timo Reiter more brave here. As we go into the maternity bend now, Colin Barker has managed to come out on top. It is the Brits now in P7. 13 seconds behind Marian Satsara though, so now he has a defensive job on his hand. Reiter will want to take back that position in this and the next lap. Maybe we will have one more lap after that. We will have to see. But there are only 3 more minutes left on the clock. Marvin Muckenberg will also be aware of that there are only 3 more minutes left on the clock. Let's take a look with Sven Muckenberg. He is going through Fisherman's Bend there. Let's take a look. A top lap is about 2:28. Let's see, Sven Muckenberg. Yeah, there will be 2 more laps, it seems. Muckenberg coming across the lap at 2:33 left. So unless he stops for 5 seconds in the middle of the circuit, there will be 1 more lap after this one, which will give Marvin Muckenberg more opportunities to go for an overtake. Maybe they will be in communication about this issue right now, and Marvin will tell his brother, don't slow down, I want 1 more lap of a chance. Since it will deliver us more racing, I'd say that's fair. Marvin Muckenberg on the rear of Colin Kreminski. Will he be able to make a move up the San Francisco Hill? Not close enough here. Let's see what he can do through these next few corners. As we go into the maternity bend, nothing so far. Maybe even losing a bit of time to Kreminski up ahead. It's looking pretty constant. But this is now an opportunity. Muckenberg is a bit closer now. Within the 2 tenths. 3 tenths. But now look at how close it's bumper to bumper as we come into Moorish Hill. Oh, look at that. This is an opportunity. Not quite here. Through Moorish Hill. Not quite a move here. Only 1 more chance before the Malco hairpin. This would be here. But Marvin Muckenberg does not want to take it at this moment. Maybe after the Malco hairpin. But definitely not into it here. As we saw a bit of a yellow flag here for Andreas Ebert. But Marvin Muckenberg has lost a bit of time once again out of the Malco hairpin, as we have seen in previous laps. Sven Muckenberg in the meantime. Coming around our bend now. And yes, it will just be one more lap. As there's a yellow flag for Sam Morris, he's turned around. That must be just after Moorish Hill, I believe. Oh boy, probably hit the wall a bit too hard there. In the meantime, on this last lap, we still have two battles going on. Marvin Muckenberg's trying to go for a move here on Kordian Kreminski. Is getting close, but will it be close enough here as we come towards Lisboa? Oh, let's take a look. That's defensive driving per masterclass by Kordian Kreminski. The Polish driver is keeping it in front of the Muckenberg as they touch a little bit, and it seems that Marvin Muckenberg not able to take the advantage of the outside line through that corner, and Kordian Kreminski stays ahead. Wonderful defensive drive in here by Kordian Kreminski. Went defensive into Lisboa, that immediately saw it was a ruse by Muckenberg, who tried to go for the outside, and then himself went back towards the outside, trying to go for the best line possible through Lisboa. That is exactly what you need to do in a situation like this. And now he just needs to stay in front during this entire middle sector here. Oh my, that was through the Solitude S's here. Now through Faraway Hill. It seems that Marvin Muckenberg has lost all of the time. Further behind, we have Song Yong trying to go for an overtake on Sam Morris here. The two come together a bit. Song Yong seemingly pushing Timo Reiter into the wall a bit there. And Sebastiano Rossi having a yellow flag because that seemed to be Imentrix Saints there, who is now reset the pits. And now Riccardo Rebello is on the rear of Sebastiano Rossi as well. It seems that there are more battles now coming up in the last lap of the race. But the frontmost of those, that was a new term that I've just invented, is Marvin Muckenberg, who is following Kordian Kreminski, and this seems to be one of the best exits that Muckenberg has ever had so far. Sven Muckenberg, in the meantime, is coming around to finish the race. In P1 here, Sven Muckenberg, wonderfully done. 2 race wins once again for the championship leader. Marvin Muckenberg, his brother, after qualifying in P1, does not seem to have enough of a fight left to get P2 away from Kordian Kreminski, who finishes in P2 ahead of Marvin Muckenberg. Sebastiano Rossi able to stay in P4 ahead of Riccardo Rebello. Looking further behind a bit, Marian Setzara having a pretty lonely race now towards the end of it in P6. Lambarca, who's coming around the arc bend here, is in P7, followed by Timo Reiter, who is in P8. Song Yong, after struggling to find the pace here, manages to get the car into P9. There's one more corner left to go here. Oh, hits the wall a bit on the exit forward measure. You won't have visited Macau without a few scraps of paint. The same thing rings true for Sam Morris. Unfortunately, with a bunch of damage, ends up in P10. And Andreas Ebert, who is just cruising to the end of the race, it seems, at this point. Imentrix Saints unfortunately DNF'd, as did Jiří Kratochvil. Both hit the wall rather hard there towards the end of it, which meant that they had to stop the race today. Could it be no, he's on the gas, right? It's not a situation where Andreas Ebert does not have any fuel anymore, right? Right. Please, Andreas. Please tell me you have enough fuel to finish the race. Final corner. I think he's run out of fuel. So he's just rolling it all across the finish line to finish the race as well. P11 for Andreas Ebert after presumably... No, he did not run out of fuel. He's just going slow there. Just to make it more interesting for the camera, I guess. Sven Mackenberg with a very dominant performance again today. In the first race, he was challenged by Riccardo Rebello. In the second race, he managed to stay ahead, especially after an incident between Riccardo Rebello and Marvin Mackenberg, which really hampered all of the progress that Marvin and Rebello could have made today. But this has been the 6th round of the Track to the U Touring Masters, together with the KCG Racing League at Macau. We will be back in 2 weeks' time to one more race. Oh, 2 more races actually in total. But the next race will be at Brno. We will go to the Czech Republic for the penultimate round. So see you there in 2 weeks and see you on the racetrack.